morning. It is Saturday morning and we're here for Saturday strategy tips. And if you are here watching and you have a comment or a question, I am trying to keep an eye on the comments and would love to answer your questions. But in the meantime, I thought today I would talk about DeFi protocols again. It's a subject I talk about pretty frequently. What is a DeFi protocol? What are they good for? What are they not so good for? It's especially on my mind because there is a DeFi protocol that we have done and recommended that may or may not be a good investment, and it's reorganizing. So what happens when a DeFi protocol is reorganizing? Is it still safe? Is it a good idea to invest more? And so on. So a DeFi protocol is when you take your crypto and you send it somewhere in cyberspace that is not in a centralized exchange. So centralized exchange is where you can do regular trading, places that you've heard of that are real companies that have a headquarters, and they usually have some sort of website where you do your trading. Places like Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, Binance, any of those very large exchanges are a place that you can do trades. But when you don't use a place like that, you often do it through a wallet like a MetaMask wallet, or maybe you use your Ledger wallet or your Trezor wallet and you send your stuff to an address to do something. And so DeFi protocols are these places where they've got some kind of smart contract set up that if it receives your crypto from your wallet, it will usually put the crypto someplace safe for a while and then pay you back something with interest, or it will do some kind of thing. I mean, people wouldn't send their crypto someplace for no reason. So it's set up to do some sort of thing, usually to try to increase your investment. So a DeFi protocol, there's so many of them out there, and there are so many that have nosedived and taken all of their investors' money to zero. So you really do have to be careful. There are definitely ones out there that have more legitimacy. So if you're looking for a good DeFi protocol to invest in, I would look for a real website that looks legit and it's sticking around. It's been around for a while. There are ways to look up the history of a website and see how long it really has been in action, so that if they're claiming that it's been in action for 10 years and you're like, the website's been here for 1 month, then you can be a little suspicious. You have to be a little bit savvy with websites and research to figure out things like that. So there's that. You can look for white papers that explain what the protocol is doing. So for instance, when I bought rebasing tokens, there were a couple of different rebasing protocols where if you bought the token, it actually automatically every day increased the number of tokens in your wallet. The theory was that you could just hold on to the token in your wallet and it would increase the number of tokens. And if the token value stays the same, then you're growing your investment over time. In reality, I got into the rebasing protocols pretty much when the market started crashing, and then the market crashed. So the value of the tokens went way down. And so now I may have tons and tons of these tokens because they were rebasing all this time, but they're worth much less than I put in. So always something to be careful of. If you're going to invest in a protocol or in some DeFi strategy, definitely do it with money you can afford to lose, because there's a very good chance it won't work out. White papers are good. Websites that explain how it works are good. You can see stories written about them in places like Medium, or they might have a Telegram channel, or they might have Twitter, social media. All of these things, the more they have, the more legit they look. It doesn't guarantee your investment, but the more of these that you can find, the better it is. And then certainly if there's communities on Reddit or something like that talking about it, definitely you can get a good sense, depending how active their Telegram channel is, how active their Twitter posts are, or if people are talking about it a lot in Reddit, you can get a good sense of this thing is around and it's lasting. Again, no guarantee that your money is safe, just saying there will be more legitimacy if you do a little research and figure out about it. Once you get in, it's a good idea to keep an eye on it. I like investments that you can set and forget because I get too busy to check on things. And then I come along months later and I'm like, I wonder what happened to that. And often enough, the things that I've done in DeFi have gone down significantly in value, and you're just like, okay, oh well. Probably should have watched it. Should have done better. But hopefully, one day when the crypto market figures itself out, things are going to start going up again. And in that case, when you come back, there may be something to actually come back to, which would be exciting. We do have a lot of clients who deposited into these various protocols, and the smart ones get some money out. So this is our number one recommendation. If you do invest in a protocol, whether you think it's legit or not, whether it's got good social media and all that stuff or not, it's a great idea to invest a little bit and then get some money out just in case it rug pulls, because there's so many of these protocols that will one day the website folds up and disappears. You have no money. You have no record that you were in there. You sent your money somewhere, but there's no record of anything. So if you have a transaction that you have coming back, someone like us, when we're taking care of our clients, we create a trade for our clients who got into a protocol and then they only got a little bit of money out. We'll create a trade that shows that that money that they put in, say it was $500 and they got $10 out as a test. If we have a trade showing 500 went to 10, then they can realize that loss on their taxes. If it disappears entirely, technically, the US says you can't claim a loss like that in crypto because there's no closing transaction. As long as there's a closing transaction, you can claim the loss. But if you send money and somebody runs off with it, technically you're not allowed to claim that. So that's why we always recommend that you at least, get out $10, $5, something, so that if it should happen to disappear, you can kind of create a loss since you're not going to get your money back. But there have been a lot of protocols that go in and people put in money and then they do make money. We have seen people who got into projects early that ended up rug pulling later, who did end up pulling out a lot of money. And in that case, 99% of the time, you do need some help reconstructing your taxes because you send money out and then something happens and then your money comes back in, usually in chunks, and eventually you recover all of your money, and then after that you've got more money coming in. So we do help our clients report all of that as return of capital for the initial investment coming back, and then if extra comes in, we report that as income. But a lot of clients who don't get their full money back, we help them report the loss. That's kind of the tax aspect of it, which I know Saturday Strategy Tips isn't really about taxes, but just a heads up. And then so many of these protocols, somebody has an idea and they put it together with a smart contract and they try it and people get into it and it could actually sort of work, but then something needs to be tweaked. So then they'll usually migrate the protocol to a new platform with a new smart contract, and they usually take your investing money with it, and usually, hopefully they tell you this, or you notice on Twitter or Telegram or something that they're moving. This has certainly happened to me in a lot of protocols, and it's a wonderful thing if they're improving it and it's going to do better things. Like for instance, there's this protocol right now called Drip that we talk about a little bit regularly, and the idea is you put your money into this faucet, and then each day it pays out 1% of the money you put in as supposedly passive income. And the way we like to think of it is like, first it's a return of capital, and if you get back more than you put in, then it starts to be income. So we don't really call it passive income at the beginning because it's really a return of capital, but the idea is passive income coming back. But they've run into a problem, and I think I've mentioned this in other Facebook Lives in other weeks, that the Drip token started out being worth something. It was worth, I don't know, a lot of money. And then it went up in value because people got really excited about the project and they got really excited about this protocol that you could invest in. And there were a couple of other related protocols that you could also invest Drip into, like I think one was called The Farm, where you could buy pigs and dogs and trade and grow and stake and all these sorts of things. So everybody was really excited about what they called this ecosystem of the Drip community. And so people put money in, but with the crypto winter, the value of Drip started to fall. People started not trusting the project, so the value started falling more. And by the time I got in, I think Drip was probably, I don't remember how much it was when I got in. But I got a friend of mine in when it was $7, and then it went down to $4 each. So this great idea where this protocol is supposed to be paying you 1% of your original investment every day has kind of failed, because if you put in $100 and 100 drips, say, for instance, but now drip is worth a penny, so you're getting back a penny every day. Well, that's not 1% of $100. That is 0.001% of $100. So it's not the greatest way to have a passive income because it's not working. And so they are trying to fix the drip protocol, and they've got community voices putting in their input, and they've got developers working on it, and they have ideas, and they've started a new thing. There's like a lotto thing that you buy tickets and you might win drip or something like that. So they are trying all these initiatives to kind of rescue this protocol because the people who made it really believe in it, the community really believes in it. But a combination of the crypto winter and life has not helped this protocol do very well. So, how do they fix it? And I do believe that they have migrated contracts, possibly, or at least websites. So, so then it's like, well, this community has been around for a long time, and I don't think it's going anywhere. But on the other side, who knows what will happen? And in the meantime, they've got some proposals this week that they're going to redesign the whole thing. Eventually, all of these rebasing protocols and drip realize that they created an inflationary system, which means that they're generating more and more of their tokens. And unfortunately, if people aren't willing to pay the same amount for tokens because now there's more of them, that means the value of your tokens automatically goes down. And this is a problem. So grand promises, as I mentioned before, if your tokens are increasing but the value is decreasing 3 or 4 times as fast, that is not going to help people want to invest in this protocol. So the drip community is trying to come up with a way to make the token deflationary. In other words, they're going to figure out how they can burn up tokens, how they can send them somewhere, how they can use them so that the value starts to increase. Just like in the stock market, when a company either splits their shares, because like if Amazon, I forget how much Amazon is at the moment, but say it's $1,000 a share, people are less likely to buy shares because not everybody has $1,000 sitting around. But if they split those shares, they will have more opportunity for people to buy the shares. So they split it into $10 shares. Now everybody can buy shares for just $10. However, they've just 10 times the amount of stock that they have, and therefore the value of each stock has decreased by 10 times. That's inflating your stock. On the other hand, when a company starts to go bad, like when it goes down in value, so say Amazon did a 10 for 1 split, now their shares are $10, but then something happens and the company blows up, kind of like GameStop did, or one of these companies that goes bankrupt. Suddenly those shares that they diluted and created all these shares, and now suddenly the shares are worth a penny each. And it's like, oh my gosh, now they're a penny stock. So people don't respect penny stocks because they don't cost enough to be respected. So in that case, the company often does what's called a reverse split, which means they're going to take those shares that they split or that they didn't split but has lost value, and they're going to combine them into something that's more reasonably valued. So maybe they would take, my math this morning, I'm not sure if I can remember, but if they take 1,000 shares that are worth at a penny, then squish them into one share that's worth $10. That is probably going to do better in the eyes of the consumer, because stock market is always very aware of people's perceptions. And people's perceptions of a penny stock is that it's worthless. People's perceptions of a $1,000 stock is that it's really expensive and maybe too expensive for people who might want to invest. So there's this middle ground where they want to keep their stock price, which is why you see companies that go up in value enough do split their shares so that it's a more reasonable price. And it's why people do reverse splits so that they can get that $3 stock back up to being worth $10 or something like that. So this is what the protocols are trying to figure out, is how can they become deflationary? How can they reduce the number of outstanding share counts, outstanding token numbers, so that the token can increase in value and begin recovering, especially as we start to come out of crypto winter, which I hope is soon. That is what the DRIP protocol is currently doing, is they're trying to figure out how they can set up the contract so that more of these tokens are burned than are created. It will be interesting to see what happens. But in the meantime, there's this little time period when ideas are being discussed, and then people get really excited and they want to like jump ahead of everyone else. So, like for instance, the group that I'm in that I love, that is always giving out warnings, they sent out a update this week and they said, okay, Drip is trying to get reorganized, but don't start any new faucets this week because they might not honor them. Because people are creating faucets to try to take advantage of what they're going to do. And if they don't want to respect the people who are kind of trying to take advantage of everybody else and kind of cut in line, then you will be out of money. So you do definitely want to be extra careful when you're investing in a protocol that is reorganizing, because you do not know what will happen. And if you have the opportunity to take some money out of a protocol when it's reorganizing, even if you take it out in the token, you might want to do that. You might want to sell some of that token so that you can realize some of your loss if the thing blows up, if the token disappears. It's kind of a good idea to hedge your bets and just take some money off the table, even if you're selling it at a massive loss, especially if you're selling it at a massive loss. Like I like to tell people who say, I don't want to report taxes because I had so many losses, and I'm like, but losses offset your other income. So this is like the ideal time you want to report, is like take advantage of it and use it against your other income. Investing in DeFi protocols, not a safe thing. Very, very risky. Do not risk anything you can't afford to lose. You usually want to get a tax professional, especially somebody with crypto tax experience, to help you decipher all the transactions that might go in and out of your wallet. Make sure that it's telling the right story, and something we specialize in case you're interested. And be careful out there. Some of these projects are so exciting and they could pay off. And yet again, many of them won't. There you go. All right, so we are here Tuesdays and Thursdays answering questions. If you have any questions, we love answering questions, and you can always send us a message. You can send us an email at jessica@betavirtualassistants.com. We are working on getting these Facebook Lives edited down and reposted onto a YouTube channel, so look for that coming soon. I believe we might have one or two ready to post this week. It is a process, and we're learning how to do it, and it's taking longer than we thought, so that's always exciting. But be looking for that. We'd love some support and love helping get the word out that our services are available, especially as we're coming up on October 15th, which here in the US is the extension deadline for your taxes. So anyone who has not reported their 2022 taxes yet and still needs to, and has crypto and needs help, we want those people to know where we are. So if you have a friend who could use some help with their crypto taxes, get them in touch with us. We do have a little mini course. The link is in the comments. If you claim this mini course and actually consume it within 3 days, so you watch the videos and you check off things, you get to keep access to it. It is free for the moment. Eventually, we're going to put a price tag on it, just like we did for Crypto Taxes 101, which is another of our courses that really explains a little more in depth how crypto taxes work. But the Crypto Tax Matrix is a short little course that just takes you through, do I need outside help figuring out my crypto taxes, or will I be able to figure it out easily, or will my accountant or tax preparer be able to figure it out? Because if you already have somebody who can figure it out, obviously you don't need outside help. But if you are in a complicated situation, like you've been in some DeFi stuff, definitely worth checking into finding somebody with experience in the crypto tax space so that you can get it done right and get the full amount of your losses claimed, get the full amount of your gains reported correctly, so it's not costing you extra in taxes. That's what that course is for. We love having people share us with their friends. So if you have a community where you can share us, talk to us about our affiliate program. We do pay people for referrals if their referrals end up buying packages and things like that. I think that's all I have to say for today. And wow, I did end up talking for a long time, which means this video will take longer to edit. Darn it all. All right. So I'm going to sign off for today. It's Saturday morning. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you again on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern, if I didn't say that. Saturdays at 10 a.m. Bring your questions, message your questions, and we'll see if we can answer them. And in the meantime, have a great week. Bye.